Okay. Thank you. Where are we supposed to start from? Which number is that? Okay. Play the tape then. Let's continue discussing Gung Te Kai, Master Gung Te Kai.
这齐桓寺造成了，那么就很多修道的比丘、比丘尼、优婆塞、优婆夷在这修行。修行有一天，就在吃饭的时候，这位功德凯法师吃了几口饭，饭没吃完。
While cultivating, one day during lunch, Dharma Master Gonda Kai took a few bites.
就走了，走了回到方丈室里去呀，就解上双家趺坐在那里。
He left before finishing his meal. He went back to the abbot's room and sat in full lotus.
，Why don't you correct it?
含蓄，端然正坐嫣然而化，往生了。
Move the slide and make the corrections so that people can get to hear the right thing.
At that place, he was properly adorned and sat upright. 俨然而化. We weren't sure how to translate it. Is it dignified and transformed? And then he went to rebirth.
What's yin ran? I don't know what yin means. Yin. What's yin? Chinese people, what is yin? What does yin refer to? It's important. All the Chinese characters have their own specific meanings. Especially when it's spoken by Master YongHua, it carries a purpose, for sure. So it's worth looking into why, what it means. And maybe we can guess why. Ran is naturally, peacefully. Yin, I don't know. Dictionary.
So in the dictionary it says number 1 is lie down, lay down. And number 2 is ceased, stopped.
Okay, just 2. That's it? Okay, I don't have it in my dictionary. Okay, what it means is that he died peacefully. Yes, in the back.
Master, the Vietnamese translation, according to the dictionary, has 3 meanings. 2 meanings second to the Chinese. The third meaning is to fold together like...
I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Repeat.
So the Vietnamese dictionary from Hán Việt, the Chinese to Vietnamese, has 3 meanings. First is to stop, cease, and rest. Second is to lie down. And third is to fold.
To what?
To fold, like the flag, you fold the flag. You pull down the flag.
Okay, so what he means, he was sitting upright. And then yin ran er hua, meaning he died peacefully, without convulsion, without making noises, without any pain or suffering whatsoever. It's a very peaceful death, natural death. Okay, meaning that he chose to end his life. At those levels, they can choose to go peacefully. So he was in control of his own life, and he chose to end it naturally and peacefully. That's all it meant. Okay, and went for rebirth. Wang Sheng, I don't know. The Chinese Wang Sheng, meaning he rebirth and whatever, but it's unclear that he could make it to the Pure Land. I just don't think he can make it to the Pure Land. Okay? But the Chinese like to say Wang Sheng le, Wang Sheng le. So it's just like they go somewhere else. Okay? Wang is go somewhere, and they were born somewhere else. But somehow, now it's translated, the Chinese nowadays, when they use the word, the expression Wang Sheng, is they claim it's rebirth of the Pure Land, which is what it implies nowadays. But to me, in his particular case, I doubt that he went to the Pure Land at all, because later, I had a peek later on here, he's basically Hinayana. He wouldn't be able to know about the great Dharma of Pure Land. The great news is that Wang Sheng means that he went to the heavens. He's not suffering. You can tell when you see a person dying, they're dying naturally, and he's set upright here, so he's in perfect control of his body. Okay, and no, not tormented or not in pain, was not suffering at all. So that's why yin ran er hua, meaning that he died peacefully, naturally. So a natural and peaceful death. And Wang Sheng, meaning that he went somewhere else. Okay, in his case, most likely he went to the heavens, where he later would come down here again to the human realm. One more time to become a fourth stage Rahat. You find out later. Continue, please.
看这个和尚，方丈和尚怎么，吃饭就走了。
By the time this attendant checked on Venerable Gonda Kai, he was wondering why the Venerable Abbot left in the midst of eating.
跟着去看一看，到那一看，这个功德凯法师已经往生了，已经圆寂了。
He followed him only to see that Dharma Master Gonda Kai had already passed away. He already perfected stillness.
这位法师在没圆寂以前呢，有很多的灵异的事情。什么灵异事情呢？
Before this Dharma Master entered perfect stillness, there were many supernatural phenomena. What were the supernatural phenomena?
他坐静时啊，常常的一坐就一天也不出来。到吃饭的时候他也不吃。
He sat in the quiet room. Often the sits will last for a day. He didn't come out. When it's time for lunch, he also didn't eat.
到什么时候他也不来。那么一般的沙门呢，就派这个沙弥去看他。
No matter the time, he didn't come, so the shramanas from this group sent this novice to check up on him.
到他那一看，他这个满屋子里边都是青莲花，在他这个门口啊，就有这个狮子在那个门口。
The novice went to Dharma Master Gonda Kai's room to take a look, and the room was filled with blue lotus flowers. At the entrance of his door, the lion was there.
咱们这个沙弥就喊起来了，一喊，咱们在旁人到那一看，什么也没有。好像这个事情啊，很多很多的。
So the novice screamed. Once he screamed, bystanders went to take a look and saw nothing. Similar incidents occurred many, many times.
他圆寂的时候啊，是65岁。在没圆寂之前呢，他就写了一篇文章，就写了36首偈颂。
So he entered perfect stillness at the age of 65. Before he perfected stillness, he wrote an article containing 36 verses.
这个偈颂呢，就是说他自己这一生的经过，一生啊怎么样修行，修这个。
The verses talks about himself and describes the course of his entire life, how he cultivated throughout his life.
死尸观，他修死尸观，就看这个死尸。
He cultivated corpse contemplation. He cultivated corpse contemplation to basically look at the corpse.
这个人死了，这个尸首过几天就变了，由这个青色就变得生出一种能蜡。
As a person dies, their corpse will change over a couple of days, as it turns from blue to having some type of pus coming out.
烂了，然后生出虫来， 生出虫啊，把这个所有的血肉啊都给吃了，就剩一堆白骨头。
As the corpse rot, afterwards insects will form. As the insects form, they'll eat the blood and flesh, every bit of it. Only a pile of white bones will remain.
啊，这么样子，观来观去，观这个死尸，这个他就明白了。
He contemplated like this over and over again. Contemplating the dead corpse, he then understood.
你再美貌的女人，再美貌的男人，啊，死了这个尸首也是这样子。
No matter how beautiful a woman is or how handsome a man is, upon death, the corpse is just the same.
有什么可留恋的呢？啊，就这么观呢，观来观去。
What is there to attach to? He contemplated this, contemplated over and over again.
他就得大自在，得大自在，得大快乐。在这个坐禅的时候，
He obtained great self-mastery, obtained great self-mastery, obtained great bliss.
不知道，怎么那么好？
When he was sitting in Chan, he didn't know how great it would be.
他在这个得大自在、得大快乐、得大安乐之后，然后证出果。
After he obtained the great self-mastery, obtained the great bliss, and obtained the great peace, he obtained the first fruition.
出果以后，又修行，就有很多人来供养他啊。
After he obtained the first fruition, he continued to cultivate, and many people came to make offerings to him.
啊，这个人也供养，那个人也供养，一看这圣人了，啊，这个人就争着来供养。
This person made offerings, that person made offerings as well. Once people saw this is a sage, everyone fought to make offerings.
哈哈，他讨厌的不得了，这么多麻烦。于是乎啊，就跑到深山里边去，不见人。
He became very disgusted. This is too much trouble. Therefore, he ran deep into the mountains so he wouldn't have to see people.
不见人以后修行正二果，正二果呢，这然后。
After not seeing people, he cultivated and obtained the second fruition. He obtained the second fruition.
从这个舍坡国正了二果，在那个他不是在大城市正了二果，在一个乡下。
Afterwards, he obtained the second fruition in Shepogo. He didn't obtain the second fruition in a big city, but rather in the countryside.
这个乡下很幽静，在那修行正二果。
This countryside was quiet and secluded. There, he cultivated and attained the second fruition.
以后呢，就到中国了，为了弘扬大乘佛教。 到中国，那么来弘扬一个时期呢，他的因缘已经了了。
Later, he came to China. He came to China in order to propagate Mahayana Buddhism. After propagating for some time, his cause and conditions ended, so he left on his own.
所以自己就走了。 这位法师，这叫来去自由，这真正的自由。你看，吃饭自己就走了到。
This Dharma master, this is called coming and going freely. This is true freedom. You see, he was casually eating and just left on his own.
后边坐着就往生，就圆寂。
He left, went to the back to sit, and went to rebirth. He entered perfect stillness.
他预先告诉他徒弟，他在哪一天呢？他圆寂，自己都预先知道。
He told his disciples which day he would enter perfect stillness. He knew in advance.
所以这一位法师呢，是境界是不可思议。在他圆寂之后，这依照佛教的这种仪式，要用火烧。
Therefore, this Dharma master's state was inconceivable. After he entered perfect stillness, according to Buddhist traditions, they should burn him. Cheng Cheng said in the past they didn't have cremation, they just burned the body.
因为一般人对这位法师信仰的很真诚，所以呀，就用这个檀香来分他这个肉身。
Because ordinary people sincerely believe in this Dharma master, they use sandalwood to burn his flesh body.
很多檀香，在正分他这个肉身的时候呢，一般人呢看见这个烟呢。
They use a lot of sandalwood. In the process of his flesh body burning, the ordinary people saw smoke.
所烧的这个烟呢，都是变成莲花的样子。又有一条龙呢，也在这个烟雾里边呢，飞到虚空里去。
The smoke from the flames all turned into shape of lotus flowers. There was a dragon that also flew from the smoke of the flames into empty space.
所以在当时，这位法师所翻译的经典，一般人呢都很相信。
So at that time, the sutras translated by this Dharma master were well believed by the ordinary people.
这一位法师在佛教来讲，是功德很大。
From the perspective of Buddhism, this Dharma master had generated great merit and virtue.
那么小佛法的应该呀，小这个高僧。大和高僧。
Those of us studying the Buddha Dharma should learn from this eminent monk, this great virtuous eminent monk.
知道过去的高僧怎么样修行，咱们也应该学习来修行。
Knowing how this eminent monk cultivated in the past, we should also learn and cultivate.
切不要懒惰，不要以为多休息一个时候就是好处，必须要精进用功。
Remember, don't be lazy. Don't believe more rest is beneficial. You must be diligent and vigorous.
人人呢，都应该要快一点了生死。出家的人应该修行用功。
Everyone should end birth and death sooner. Left home people should apply effort and cultivate.
在家的人呢，也一样应该修行。这个修行啊，最要紧的要修这个忍辱。
Lay people should also apply effort and cultivate. The most important factor in cultivation is to endure insults. Master, this is the patience paramita, but we weren't sure how to translate it, so we translate it as endure insults.
Patience.
Patience?
I think he's going into another Dharma here. Okay, let's backtrack. Let's go back to Master Gung Te Kai and see what we can learn from his story. Notice there's a question from Kong. Go ahead, Kong.
We have 3 questions.
All right.
하나는 입교 오세원님이 보내주신 질문입니다. 영화 마스터 법문이 마침 점심시간이어서 듣기 시작해서 계속 듣다 보니 점심시간이 지났는데 계속 듣고 싶어서 한쪽 귀에만 살짝 이어폰을 끼고 계속 들으며 일을 했습니다. 다 듣고 나니 잘한 일인가 하는 의문이 들었어요. 귀한 법문을 일하면서 몰래 들은 것 같은 생각이 들어 왠지 죄송한 마음입니다. 나중에 다시 듣기로 들었어야 했나 하는 생각이 들어 여쭙니다. 나무 아미타불.
I was listening to Master YongHua's Dharma talk during my lunch time. I was listening and eating for the lunch, and since I want to continue to listen to it, so I just used one side of the earphone and continue to listen while I was working. And then suddenly I thought about it, is this okay? This is a precious Dharma talk. Should I listen while I'm working, or should I just listen it after the work? Emitofuo, Master.
You can listen to it anytime you feel like it's really not that big of a deal. So if you feel like you can listen, if you can find the time and opportunity, you're most welcome to do it. Don't worry. Next.
한국어 유튜브에 올라온 강민성님 질문입니다. 영화 선사님 안녕하세요. 저는 인간관계가 너무 어렵습니다. 제가 하는 말이나 행동이 적절한지, 제 행동으로 인해서 사람들이 기분이 상하지 않는지 항상 걱정됩니다. 항상 사람들의 반응에 따라서 행동을 맞추려고 합니다. 그러다 보니까 지나치게 사람을 의식하고 조그만 반응에도 예민하게 받아들입니다. 이런 성격이 너무 힘들고 제가 어떤 사람인지 혼란스럽습니다.
Master, I always have a problem with the relationship with others, and I like to pay attention to my talk and behavior, and always concerned about if I made another person upset. And because of that awareness, I try to please other people. And then whatever the other people's reactions, I become really oversensitive. So at the end, I'm just confused about this situation.
I don't understand the problem. What is the problem? Since you cultivation doesn't mean you have to please people. You ask me, I would tell you people get pissed off at me constantly because I insult them. You're worried about offending others, and because others misunderstand you, I on purpose insult people. So I'm a worse culprit. You're asking the wrong person. I really have no wisdom to tell you because I'm guilty of alienating others. These poor people, these innocent people, they came to the temple like the bhikshunis and bhikshus, upasikas and upasakas who went to Qi Huan temple back then to cultivate. And they were cultivating in harmony and peace. And I'm pretty sure that they were very well treated. But here, at our temple, somehow, once a week at least I offend someone. Not to mention at lunch, the people who sat next to me find it very difficult to swallow. That's why the ones who are closer to me, they're put there because then I only have to offend them, not the others. So I don't know how to get along with others, to be honest with you. And if I offend others, quite often they retaliated. Quite a few retaliated. Quite a few actually are still very upset at me, and vow for revenge and so forth. It's okay too. So you see, it's life. Be yourself. Don't worry so much about offending people. Okay? We don't intend. If you don't intend to offend people, then it's okay. And if you unintentionally offend people, apologize. That's all. Maybe it's too late, but so what? At least you apologize. Don't be like me. I offend people. I don't apologize. If I apologize, it's because I don't mean it. Okay? So, I think getting along with others is overrated at the workplace. And when you work at the companies at work, This one of the worst things would happen to me is that a phenomenon called groupthink. At the whole group, when you get together and you're supposed to discuss things, and somehow you choose, like the Japanese, what they used to call quality circles, nonsense. Okay, it used to be real hot back then, in my era, because the Japanese economy was taking off. So now the Americans, management people, went to Japan to learn what they do. And they found out something the Japanese did was they got together and they have something called quality circles. A bunch of people got together and they solved problems together in harmony. And say the Americans were very impressed. They came back and they did that with their workplaces in America. What happened is they created a phenomena here in the U.S. called groupthink, where everyone sacrifice their individuality for the sake of harmony. And it's counterproductive to me. In a workplace, you need to allow for dissent. You need to allow for discord. Sounds like a commercial for a certain software. This is when we should have a commercial relationship. So you should allow for disagreement to me, because it's healthy that people should feel free to express themselves, to express their opinions. If they disagree, then that's the way it's supposed to be. And now it's up to the person in charge of the meeting or the manager or the person in charge to resolve the conflict. Okay? And it's a lot healthier because if you solve a problem, you want to approach it from as many different angles as possible. Okay, so I don't subscribe to harmony at all. Actually, I prefer chaos. Okay, because chaos will create an opportunity for the good managers to shine and good leaders to emerge. And those are the ones we pay attention to. We pick, select, and train them. So I don't know how to... I don't subscribe to harmony at work, okay? Only the weak ones prefer harmony because the supervisor or the bosses are afraid to look bad. And those are the bosses that I would not hire. Those are the people I would can. I remember I used to work for such a boss, and he had such good raving reviews, and then pretty soon he manipulated numbers, making sure that everything looked perfect, and then he went to the next company because he's building his resume, and then he left behind a big mess. And all his lieutenants, I canned them, or they were canned by me directly or indirectly. Okay? So, to this particular question, you're bound to offend people, whether it's intentional or unintentional, you will offend people. And so you have to learn to compensate for it. The reason that it's okay to offend people at work is because, as I said, you need to be true to yourself and not be afraid to express yourself. In that kind of environment, the workplace will thrive. The people there will thrive. You should not suppress people or oppress people. That's my personal preference. And if there's certain managers who are doing that, then those are not good managers, good supervisors. They don't go very far. Tough luck. Okay? And so what does it mean for you? Just be yourself and learn to read people's expression. And once you realize some people are offended, they apologize publicly. Because you offended them publicly, then you should take a stand, say, hey, I am sorry, I offended you. So you apologize in public as well. Okay? And position yourself to be as part of the contribution at work. It's just kicking ideas around. It's nothing personal at all. You shouldn't take things personally. You yourself should not take it personally when others criticize you. Okay? That's the main thing. So learn to apologize and take the blame, take the heat. And eventually, you build reputation as the antagonist. And people will learn to accept you. You see, that's the advantage. You shouldn't be afraid. And eventually, the good manager will spot you. So personally, I'm not afraid to offend people at all. Okay. And early in my teaching career at Lu Mountain Temple, I offended a lot of people. People used to call me an arrogant monk, an arrogant nobody. He's got nothing, he's done nothing, and yet he's so arrogant. Yes, continue, Kong. Third question.
라이드의 first fruition이 수다원을 뜻하는지 궁금합니다. 현안 스님 질문입니다.
This question is from Venerable Shinan. He says, here on the slide they mention about first fruition. Is this the first stage arhat?
Yes, it's a big deal back then. Because the non-Buddhist practitioners, they could get to 8th samadhi, but they have no technology to bring themselves to first stage arhatship. Okay, that's why in the non-Buddhist world, when you reach the 8th samadhi, then you are at the top of the world. That's it. So when that's the case in China, was the case in China or in India, because India had a lot of followers in Hinduism and yogis and so forth. So for someone to reach first stage arhatship was a big, big deal. So that's first fruition. Okay? And also it's considered a person with transcendental wisdom. Meaning that this first stage arhat here has entered the flow, is another expression for it, and he or she is destined to end birth and death. So that's why it's a real big deal. It's automatic. Once you when you reach your first fruition, you will automatically enter the flow towards sagehood. That's why they considered sages in the Hinayana world. So yes, it's a big deal for them back then. Anything else? There was a question from DTT, it disappeared? It's just my hallucination. Okay, no question on DTT? Okay, if there is one, you can ask. Okay.
Hello? Master?
Yes.
I was just going to comment about the second question from the lady in Korea. That I have the same problem. When she described it, I feel like I'm oversensitive to other people's reactions, and I just wanted to share like some of the things that I've kind of learned from it, that kind of like when you do that, you kind of put yourself in a spotlight and you make a problem bigger than what it is. And I would see other people who would act more ruder than me. I always try to act always, I still do, like nice and make sure that no one gets offended. And I would see other people not get offended. They would get offended for me, but then they wouldn't get offended from people who would act ruder. So then now sometimes I just act myself and people don't get offended. And I realize that I think that sometimes like you just, I don't know, create things in your head and worry too much about it, and people are not really too much worried about you. I don't know if that'll help the lady, but it's something that I've learned recently.
I also need to make a confession. When I was at work, in my prior life, I was very abrasive, and I offended a lot of people out of stupidity, out of arrogance. So to the point where I was very difficult. I was a very difficult person to work with, and I got promoted anyway. So it perpetuated. So I couldn't understand why people couldn't get along with me. Yeah. But that's my stupidity. And people, my bosses and my friends, couldn't tell me how to solve the problem. It's not until later, after I practiced Buddhism, I meditated, that's when I saw the errors of my ways. So naturally, it's difficult, but eventually, and you stick to Chan and you improve, you become much more effective in your relationships and in managing your relationships and your anger and your arrogance and so forth. So this is a natural evolution. Okay? To me, it's just a part of life. You know, at work, you're going to find people who are very difficult to work with. And that's how it is. That's part of the learning process for everyone. Those people who are difficult to work with, for example, in my world, in my temple, for example, I used to be a novice. It's very difficult to work with. Okay, and people complain to me left and right. Okay, no one could work when there's a novice, and I made them endure for a few years. That's part of the training. Okay, and so just because you're difficult to work with doesn't mean you should leave. You only leave because you break the rules. So to me, the sensitivity, the oversensitivity to people and being concerned about the relationship, professional relationship, is a good thing. Don't worry. It's the fact that you are worried about it. Question number 2, the person who asked that. Eventually, you keep meditating and you keep progressing, keep listening to the Dharma, you will see the errors your way naturally. I would not worry about it. Okay? Just if you're abrasive, you're abrasive. So be it. And if you get fired, you get fired. And eventually you learn. That's life. Don't be so worried, you know. You try, you be yourself. That's important. Okay? And if that's difficult for your husband to take it, tough luck. If he loves you enough, he'll put up with it, you know. And that's in those cases, the relationship got stronger because you have the history together of going through hard times. Same thing. My disciples, when I insult them, I give them a hard time, and if they can endure it, and then it's someone worth training. If it's always pleasant, it's not called cultivation. That's why I call some people, and I'm very grateful that many of you survived and chose to continue. And that's why I call a lot of the people who left losers, because they can't take the heat. They keep on running away from life, running away from problems instead of facing them. Yes, it's difficult. It's difficult. Go back, lick your wounds. Okay? When it's too difficult right now, too tiring, it hurts too much. You're given a room, you're given a place. Go back there, hide yourself, lick your wounds, get some rest, cry, scream, curse me. Okay? It's perfectly okay. Okay? And then once you calm down, come back and go at it again. That's how tough we are. And that's why these people are still here. They're extremely tough. It's like, you know, when you work a sword, you take a piece of steel and you beat up on it. And that's how the impurities are beaten out of the steel before you can shape it, before you can sharpen it. You don't want to sharpen a piece of steel that still has many impurities. And again, it's a brutality where you take that hammer and you hit it. And the master said, bang, bang. I love it. I love those scenes. And all these impurities, this ash, these things fly out all over the place, including burning, you know, the clothes of the master, a swordsmith. That's part of the process. You can't forge a good sword by not taking the heat yourself. Same thing. At work is the same thing. You want to create something. You want to contribute. Yes. You have to take the heat. And if you're a screwball, you'll be shown the door. That's life. Don't be obsessed with it. It's okay. Yeah, I got canned a few times and you learn. That's all. Yes, 9.
When you were teaching in Blue Mountain Temple, I remember that it was a little scary to be in your Dharma lectures.
Scary? No, that's not true.
But one of the things that my question is, wasn't that a method of teaching? Because you were teaching us to get rid of our egos. So that's how I interpret it. And that's my question. Was that a method of teaching, or it was really something that you mean to be an arrogant teacher?
I'm an arrogant teacher. That's a fact. And look at how I criticize all the monks and nuns, especially my master's disciples. And when I was a novice, I was such an arrogant person. I look at them and I said, I'm supposed to listen to you? And so the only thing they had over me is use the kung fu to beat me up. That's life. You're stupid. People beat up on you. Okay? But I never forgave them. No. It's okay. It's okay. When I Lu Mountain Temple, I was raw, meaning, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to do, how to teach people. So I just came out from a lot of meditation. So when you meditate, you don't realize that you have a lot of chi, so that when you speak, it really pokes at people in a deeper level than you intend to. That's what people used to complain to me. My disciples used to tell me, even in the early days when we meditated during the winter cheese, they told each other, Master became a different person. He would yell at you, scream at you, had a short temper, and he would cut you to pieces. Okay, and that's me. That's how it is. Just don't beat around the bush. Okay, I'm busy. I'm cultivating, and so yes, I'm guilty of those things. It's very difficult to deal with it, and I apologize to all those people that I offended. I didn't know. I didn't realize my strength. It's a lot more offensive than I intended to. Okay, so yes, it's part arrogance, parts lack of skills. Okay, rawness of the strength. But part of that process, to be honest with you, I learned from it. You learn from making mistakes. That's how my master decided to allow me to teach. He never showed me how. He never taught me how. He never explained to me what to do. So I had to experiment. So I made a lot of mistakes. I alienated a lot of people. And those poor people are still licking their wounds. It hurt that deeply. Some never could forgive me. You know.
So, Master, regarding on those, with regards to those days, I developed a strong fear of coming to your lectures. However, I did it, and then a lot of things happened that I haven't talked to you, and I would like to talk to you privately, because developing those fears to approach you, because I thought that you were a teacher to me, and whatever you taught me, it developed in such a way that at one point I didn't know what direction to take with all the things that were happening on my mind, or other aspects of the training that I was receiving through you, and I lost it. But I never dared to approach you to request for any advice, because I was really afraid of it. And I eventually just tried to hid them away, but they had affected greatly in my cultivation. And I'm just requesting that if one day you can have a moment to if I could approach you one day to speak about it privately. Thank you, Master.
I'm very approachable nowadays. So anytime. But also what people don't realize is that a lot of my early disciples are bipolar. And for these bipolar people, Lu Mountain Temple was the only place where they could come and get a break from their ghosts, from their torment. They're tormented 24 hours a day. So they came near us. They came to the temple, they got a break. So that's why they kept coming. They kept coming because at least they got a break. They felt peaceful, they felt less tormented. And the more they came, and the more they improved, and that's how things got better. It's our reputation, by the way. Normal people would not come to our temples. They have better things to do. They're happy. Go play, go eat. Cheng said, what am I doing here? I don't need to work. I don't need to be abused, But you're here because you're bipolar. And you don't realize it, but being here makes you feel a little bit better, And that's how it is. And so that's why our reputation is like the last stop before you leave Vegas or something like that, where you come here because you have nowhere else you can go. It worked because I'm bipolar myself. I'm extreme bipolar and overcame my bipolarity, and that's how I'm able to help you overcome your bipolar. And over time, a lot of people got help and it became normal. Okay, Master Z, for example, is very bipolar. He doesn't show it, but he's seething inside. He's depressed and seething inside. And because you have those problems, that's when you can progress a lot quicker. If you are happy, if you are satisfied with your life, okay, you would not go anywhere near a church or a temple. That's my claim. You cultivate, you meditate, you go to church because you need that moment of peace on Sundays. You work hard all day, all week, and then you put on good clothes and religiously go to church and listen to the good word because you want to hear about things so that you forget about yourself, your small self. And that's why I feel that religion is failing in that sense, to take advantage of. Okay, whether you're an executive, or whether you are a poor person, whether you're an educated person or uneducated person, you still have the same problem. You have so much turmoil in your head that you need a break. And that's why religion exists. Okay, the intellectual says it's fanaticism. These are nonsense, so forth, because they prefer to stay in the intellectual world and remain tormented and practice denial. Okay. The fact is that those intellectuals, those smart people, are so tormented. They simply deny it. They harden themselves. That's all. And that's why they have broken marriages. They don't have a relationship with their children because they practice denial. Okay. When I came here, I had professors at universities whose children would get out of the house when they turn 18. I want nothing to do with you, Dad. A professor. So he's a great professor, okay? Well regarded, well respected, well paid, but cannot get along with the wife or the children. It's tormented souls, if you will. And that's what religious institutions are supposed to provide for society, a break from your own ego, from your own torments. We took a step even a lot further. We not only allow you a break, okay, when you come and you meditate and you bow or you participate in ceremony and listen to some nonsense I speak, the jokes I tell, okay, cracking jokes, just to distract you from your own ego, from your own suffering. But if you choose to learn meditation and cultivate, you will rise above it. You'll be taught to rise above it. And that's how you can really help society and your family and yourself. Because invariably, and there's those people who practice Chan and cultivate with us, they come home. The family relationships very quickly ameliorate. They get so much better, naturally. Because they become happier themselves, more peaceful themselves. Something that money cannot buy. Something that success cannot provide them. And that's what spirituality is supposed to provide for society. It's so important. That's why you monks and nuns or you clergy members should remember that. Okay? Your service to society, the reason for your existence as a church clergy member or as a rabbi or whatever, okay? It's not to build more churches. It's not to be more famous. But is to help people, bring peace to people's lives. Bring hope to them. Eight.
From Aqua Racer, Master, why is it so important and critical that we endure insults? We can make more progress in Chan?
Is a question directed at me?
No.
I resent that.
He just has a question.
Huh?
It's just a question that he has. Why do we need to endure insults?
Why need to endure insult? Why can't you endure insults? The reason you cannot endure insults is because your ego hates it. It's, how dare you insult me? And if you run away, that means that I call you a loser because you choose to protect your ego. You're afraid to lose your ego. Loser here is not derogative at all. Yeah, yes, derogative, you loser. But it also has a double meaning, that you are afraid to lose your ego. That's a reminder. You're both a loser and an ego loser. Now I explain to you. Okay? I insult people because I saw that it's time that they have to face their ego. So they have a choice. Either they said, nope, my ego is important to me, I'll protect it, I will not allow you to touch my ego. So I would run away. Or they said, well, of all the good things I received so far, you think I would come in and say, you idiot, right away? No, I let you have some benefits first. Okay? That's called entrapment. You have to endure, get some real benefit. You become peaceful, you become more patient, and you feel some little bit of bliss. Okay? And then I start insulting you to help speed up the process. And if at that point in time, it will reveal your sincerity. Because some people are here because I'm here because it pleases me. okay? Our temple is very small. I'm short-handed. Back then, I would say, I don't have time for you. This is as far as you can go, so go away, loser. You're a loser, just go away. So I pointed out to them in a very blunt fashion. But nowadays it's different, because nowadays they have a bigger temple that's empty most of the time. It's not Lu Mountain Temple. Lu Mountain Temple, I started by throwing and rejecting most people who came. 100 people came, maybe one stayed. And the ones who stay are pretty sick mentally. So I had to work with that. So I work at that. So the rejection rate is very high back then. And amazingly, over the span of 5 years or so, especially after the relics came, we filled up with both left home people and lay people. Like Qihai, whatever the temple name here, Jihuan Temple here. So I had to look for another place. I looked this place. I found this place here after 2 years of looking. Now it's 3/4 empty most of the time. So now I cannot afford to reject people anymore. Some kinder and more gentle, I think. Yes, 8.
From Aqua Racers, so the purpose is to leave our ego, to leave our thoughts until there's nothing left?
Yeah, I strip you of your ego eventually. And when that happens, the more stripped your ego is, the happier you feel inside yourself. And when you feel happy inside, your husband will be happier with you. Your wife will be happier with you. Because when you're unpleasant, you're unhappy, no one wants to be with you. So you can say we're into the marriage saving business. Yes.
From Canada, Daniel. So is it okay to minorly insult people as it may help them face and resolve their egotistical living?
If you insult people, you make a lot of enemies. That is called expedience. When I insult you, it's an expedient. It's a test. When you are not a teacher, you're not supposed to do that. I call myself a teacher because I have enough people coming here often enough to say, okay, now I have to act like a teacher. Okay? But you're not a teacher. You're not supposed to insult people. Yes, Conk.
네, 한국어 유튜브에 올라온 공부하자님 질문입니다. 안녕하세요. 궁금한 게 있어 질문 드립니다. 저는 아이도 있고 남편도 있습니다. 그런데 선수행을 하면서 불교에서 말하는 높은 단계에 올라가려면 꼭 스님, 수행자가 돼야 하는지요? 출가하지 않은 일반 사람들은 수행에도 한계가 있는 건지 궁금합니다.
Hi, Master. I have a question. I have a child and husband, and I like to do the Chan cultivation. I heard that the purpose is going to the high level, but as a lay person, is there a limitation on this?
I mean, can a lay person go high, go get to advanced levels? Absolutely. Why not? Why should we discriminate between lay people or left home people? If you're capable, we teach you. We train you. If you can endure the insults, why not? It's more fun. It's more challenging. The higher you get, it's more difficult to insult you. You have to become more creative even. Yes, 8.
Going back, Venerable Shen answered, I liked it because he, meaning Master, didn't beat around the bush. I never met a person being so straightforward and not afraid of saying the things as he sees.
Her ghosts like me, clearly. In contrast, there's another loser early on, about who came even before Xienan, who got so much out of our chanting. And I will not describe to you what he got out of it. It's a he. And he got so many good things out of it. He and the family, all of them, got so many good things out of it. And because one day I called him idiot, a stupid person in public, he never forgave me. He stuck around long enough to stab me in the back before he left. And after he left, went to a better temple, of course. And he thought we would learn more and get better protection, okay, from me. He was afraid. He's kind of low life, so he says, I would retaliate. Why would I retaliate against a loser? Anyway, so it's sad that when you touch someone's ego, they will kill you. And that's a price you have to pay. How can you teach people if you're afraid to lose them? Anyone else? Okay, so lay people too can become enlightened. Plenty of lay people are enlightened in this country. As it stands today, lay disciples of Master YongHua, at least I know some, who are higher level than his monks and nuns. That goes to prove to you that there's no discrimination. What the Master YongHua did is to set a standard where there's no discrimination whatsoever. And that's why I follow as well. I don't discriminate against lay people or left home people, men or women, or your sexual preferences, or your skin color, or your height. Okay? Or your wealth. Okay? Or whatever, your education. It doesn't matter at all. Okay? And I tell you a funny thing. Master YongHua, when he was alive, he used to allow people, all people, give them a chance to become a monk or a nun. In Buddhism, when you are after 60, you're not allowed to receive the full precepts. And he allowed them to receive full precepts. He was the first one I knew of who would allow people to do that. And it's against the Vinaya. Vinaya says, past 60, you cannot become fully ordained anymore. Master YongHua says, I will ordain you. Okay? And he did that. So he's a first in so many ways. And later, the other monks and nuns out, his colleagues and his peers at the time felt pressured, so they also ordained those people, older people as well. But they did it wrong. They didn't realize when Master YongHua ordained those older people, it's a different kind of Dharma, not the same kind of Dharma that the Buddha taught in the Vinaya. Vinaya is not everything, So that's why all those older people he ordained were perfectly legitimate. And the proof is that they attained the fruition. And that's what it boils down to us in Buddhism. What is your fruition? After you leave this body here, what is your fruition level? I don't care what you do. You practice whatever. You're practicing like the Koreans practice the Huatou, or the Chinese practice reciting Buddha's name, or the Japanese practice Zen and so forth, and the Hinayana people practice their own style of meditation, mindfulness meditation, in contemplation of impurities of the body here, like Gonda Kai here. The bottom line is, what is your level? How far did your Dharma take you? That's all that matters to me. Okay? And it turns out, I saw the Master YongHua's disciples, older than 60, allowed to live the home life out of compassion. And many of these women, for example, they're older and they're ill-tempered. They've been housewives their entire lives, mistreated by their husbands their entire lives, and they're allowed to lead a home life. And they put in the CTTB and got someone, an attendant, to take care of them, cater to them, and they certified to first fruition, second fruition themselves, totally illiterate, couldn't even read. And then there are the monks, another monk I know of, who certified to fourth-stage arhatship. Okay? So that way, his Dharma is not the same Dharma. I don't think he transmitted to them. Okay? And so you see, that's Mahayana right there. It's a lot more beyond the Vinaya that the Buddha didn't teach them. And Master YongHua brought the entire Mahayana here, way beyond the books, way beyond the records. And that's Buddhism. Only idiots would stand up and say, hey, it's not in the Vinaya, therefore it's not. It's you're doing it wrong. Master YongHua did a lot of things way beyond the Vinaya. And let me tell you, if you have a person who's 70 years old, 80 years old, and you allow them to shave their head, it could be a man or a woman, okay? And eventually that person certified to fruition. Some are even enlightened. Shouldn't you give them a chance? I say yes, if you know how to give them a chance. Yes? Agree? That's what the Dharma he brought to our country. So I imitated him. I gave old people a chance. And one is now in Thailand. Instead of being retired and hiding in a corner somewhere and meditating and so forth, now he's abbot of DTT. Yes, 8.
From Brady, so insulting an egoless person is like beating a dead horse?
It doesn't work like that. Okay, I rarely find a person I insulted who did not feel insulted. Let me put it that way for you. Okay, my success rate is not 100%, but it's very high. When I choose insult, it seems to work. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. I'm curious. Great Master Shenhua was the first person you're aware of to allow people over the age of 60 to become Sangha. What was the reasoning before that was not allowed?
I don't know why the Buddha chose to restrict people to below the age of 60 before they can, for them to receive the full ordination. To me, the main thing is that the purpose of the person to shave their head is to certify the fruition, become enlightened, put it plainly. And that's why you shave your head, because you want to get on a special program to help you become enlightened a lot sooner than if you were a lay person. Yes, you can become enlightened as a lay person. It's much harder and it's much more difficult and it takes a little bit longer. It's possible, but it's much harder, infinitely harder. Okay. So whereas we have a special program called the Sangha program, where you have this particular thing here where you don't have to worry about a wife or children and any worldly concerns. All you do is cultivate, and if you do that, you certify the fruition a lot quicker because you have support. And now we don't have it anymore, by the way. Now the Sangha have to worry about paying rent, paying for the car insurance and health insurance, so forth. Okay, that's why it doesn't work anymore for them. Okay, but traditionally the Sangha has only one mission. They don't worry about have no worldly concerns. They only concentrate on cultivating. That's why they can certify the fruition very quickly. So that's the purpose of the Sangha program. So I look at that and say, okay, if that's the purpose of the Sangha program, okay, my master didn't tell me, yes, you can allow older people to live the home life. But I look at that and I say, if he could do that, and if I can get these old people to certify the fruition, become enlightened in particular, then it's worth it. I rest my case. Okay, Buddhism is not in the books. Buddhism is supposed to help living beings, all living beings, old or young. So if we are able, and that's the spirit of Buddhism, and so we're able to help all people become enlightened, become happier, and become more useful members of society, why not? So why the Buddha did not allow younger people, people older than 60 not to live the home life, he has his reasons back then. But I'm telling you again, I'm reminding you again, Buddhism is not in the books. That's why I said earlier, that is particular Dharma for the people below 60 is for the teachers who don't know how to teach people beyond 60 years old. If they don't know, they should stick to it because that's how they can fulfill the roles as a Sangha. But Master Shenhua found a way to do it. That's why I look at it, well, if he did it, and so can I. I should give it a try too. If it doesn't work, I tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up. You should go back to lay life. But I didn't have to do that yet. Okay? Because I figured out how to do it as well. So that's why. That's why I feel that and the conclusion is that it's still within the Buddhist teaching. So the answer to your question, if you don't know how to do it, stick to 60 years old. Okay? If you know how to do it, I'm for it. I have no problems with it. Because when I allow people, older people, to shave their head, because my goal is that I want to help you become enlightened. That's my goal. Very clear to me. And they understand it too. And if they say, okay, if I will not become enlightened, then, but at least they have a good, pure life and have a happier life, and they can get up there a lot quicker. Why not? If they don't become enlightened now, I want to bring them up very quickly and then help them go to the Pure Land. And then have brownie points, core brownie points with Amitabha Buddha. Because if we let those old people not, stay in the lower realm, Amitabha Buddha would have a harder time teaching them. You see? So it's good for everyone. Yeah?
Thank you, Master. I want to say that I'm very grateful that you're here today, because I know yesterday you were mentioning that you got some special dollar bills and you were going to go to a liquor store or a bodega and play the lottery, and then we read today that someone in Altadena won $1.9 billion.
I forgot to go to Altadena.
When I read that, I thought there was 50-50. I'll see Master today.
Sorry. I missed out again on a chance to retire early, for early retirement. Yes, because I made a promise to my monks and nuns. I make them an implicit promise. That is, if they become monks and nuns while I'm still alive, then I give them myself a promise I would take care of them to make sure that they don't have to worry about money the rest of their lives. And after I'm done, I will divvy it up and they can sell it and buy cryptocurrencies, which is not a good idea nowadays, or invest in real estate or whatever. I don't care. I can't care less. Okay? But they have a choice. They can continue to be a monk and nun and do the good work, or they can, live their life. If they stay a monk, they don't have to worry about money, because that's the nature of the Sangha. The Sangha is a promise from us to you that you don't have to worry about worldly things anymore. We take care of you. Okay? That's our jobs. Our job is not to become more famous, have more disciples, more temples. Our job is to help you become enlightened. Yes, 8.
Two things. First of all, Trin said, my only question is if anybody got the lottery. I was wondering if anybody from the temple went there. I also heard that Andres lives in Altadena.
Well, I don't know. It wasn't me. If I were me, I would not be here tonight. I have better things to do. Okay? I give you a nice check, all of you. Yes, 8.
From Venbo Shen'an, according to the Bequeathed Teaching Sutra with explanation, Master said that people like that will take insults like sweet dew and doesn't wish that to stop.
In theory, yeah, but your Bible, most of my disciples are bipolar. It's very hard for them. These poor people, like torture. I remember there's some people who consider themselves to be very important supporters of mine, and made significant, very big contributions. And I still would like to torture them, drove them crazy. So they had to face a choice. They said, do I quit? Do I continue to eat his crap? And that's what all these people is a test for you. If all the benefits you receive so far is still not worth it for you to endure insults and your ego to get bruised, then you cannot make progress anymore. Yes, 8.
From Alta D. Andres won the lottery. That's why he isn't here at the temple.
Yeah, right.
He will come tomorrow, though.
You should not break precepts. Clearly, it's a lie, because if he won the lottery, super lotto, he wouldn't even listen to the Dharma anymore. Okay, we have a lot of stuff. I'm glad you asked all these questions. We should. It's getting late. It's 9:00 now, so that's end here tonight, and so that we can continue to endure more leg pains. And we'll continue this talk tomorrow night. Thank you all. Good night.